It is the witching hour. Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to a special Halloween episode of Terror Radio Podcast. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. This is a podcast dedicated and bringing you the best of horror and thriller, old-time radio broadcasts, as well as original stories. I'm your host, Keith, aka the Radio Show Nerd, and tonight I have 4 radio plays for you. The first coming from Weird Circle. Episode tonight is entitled Terrible Night, which first broadcasted on January 2nd, 1944. After that, Hall of Fantasy. The radio play is entitled Mansized in Marble, which first aired on April 10th, 1947. Following that, Mysterious Traveler, with the radio drama I Won't Die Alone, which first broadcasted on May 11th, 1948. And we conclude with Lights Out, the radio play entitled Nature Study, which was first broadcasted on June 22nd, 1943. So, you know the drill. Sit back, turn down the lights, and let's listen to A Terrible Night.
The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle.
Phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, A Terrible Night.
Silence in the court. Next witness, please.
If Your Honor, please. The next witness is Charles Castar, the defendant in this case. Will Mr. Castar please take the stand?
Silence in the court.
Place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Suppose, Mr. Castar, you tell this court your story in your own words.
From the very beginning?
Don't be afraid. From the very beginning.
Well, I don't know where to start, to be honest. I feel like a man that's drowning. I guess it started the night my wife, Bertha, and her brother, Dick Linton, were helping me to pack my suitcase. Dick and I were preparing to go on a hunting trip in Canada, in the northwest section, when...
And don't forget to put the compass in, Charlie. A hunting man needs a compass, you know.
Sure he does. Keeps him from getting lost.
See how bright my wife is, Dick? She knows all the answers.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
I know, Bertha, I know.
It's just that when a gal's brother and husband go gallivanting off on a hunting trip to the North Woods, the gal wants to know they're coming back safe.
You worry about Charles, Bertha. You know me. I never get lost. You remember the camping trips we used to take when we were kids?
You were a Boy Scout then, Dick.
He's no Boy Scout now.
Hey.
Well, let's see, darling. Have I got everything packed in here?
Yes, dear, everything. Woolen underwear?
You're a lucky man to have a wife
gun
like my
cartridges?
sister, Charles.
For both guns?
Mm-hmm. The cartridges for the hunting gun are in the rear pocket of this suitcase. And for the .38, they're in your holster.
Oh, good girl.
Where's your suitcase, Dick?
Oh, it's checked at the station.
Hey, what time is it?
Well, it's almost 10 p.m.
Oh, we better be going along, darling. I like to catch my trains with ease.
I'll help you close the suitcase, Charles.
The best suitcase sitter-runner in the world.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, there, that does it. You can get off now.
Have a nice trip, both of you. Bring back at least 2 dozen deer.
Oh, at least, sis. Bye, honey.
Bye. Oh, don't forget your muffler, darling. It's in the closet downstairs. And please be careful. When little boys play with guns, well, you know how dangerous guns can be.
So we left, Dick and I. We took the express to Montreal and then traveled by train west of the Hudson Bay to the Northwest Territory, specifically to a small town known as Fort Ray. What equipment we hadn't already purchased, we purchased there, mostly food provisions and plenty of coffee. Then, on the morning of September 3rd, Dick and I started out, on foot. It was a clear, brisk morning, and the air was alive with sounds. Birds chirping, the constant crunch of leaves underfoot. We were both in high spirits, as Dick said.
Oh, this is the life, old boy. This is what a man needs. To get away from civilization and breathe again.
Yeah, back to nature.
Mm-hmm. Back to nature's right. You know, there's something the matter with modern civilization. You get all jogged up inside. Begin to think all sorts of strange things.
Strange, Dick? In what way?
Oh, morbid thoughts. Hating yourself, hating everybody else, hating the world. You know, that's bad for a writer. His work becomes bitter, and he pours the gall out in words. Paints the world he sees in gray overtones.
You mean like that last story you sold?
Yeah. It was a depressing story, but that was my mood.
Both you and Bertha have morbid emotional streaks.
Well, Sis and I are very much alike in many ways.
Huh. Funny, my marrying Bertha.
What's so funny about it? You know, I engineered it.
You did? Why?
Well, Bertha and I have always been pretty close, you know. Much closer than ordinary brother and sister. I didn't want to see her marry some clerk.
Well, thanks, Dick.
You be my roommate at college. I got to know you pretty well. Yeah, Sis and I have the same likes and dislikes, and I just knew you were right for her.
You mean to tell me I didn't have anything at all to say about it?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Well, Bertha's beauty, her chemistry, if you like, and youth took care of the rest.
You sound like an old man airing philosophy.
I told you, I've been civilized too long.
You've been a bachelor too long. I think I'll dig up a nice young girl for you. Marriage is a sensation, Dick. Well worth a try.
Well, I don't quite like the idea of digging up a girl for me. Sounds like she's been buried already. Here, we turn this way. To the north now.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I know these north woods like a...
Like a book.
Yes, like a book. You'll never get lost with me. We'll be at the next fort by 6 this evening.
I still think we ought to have taken a guide along.
Oh, nonsense. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about at all. Just stick to Dick Linton and you can't go wrong.
Nothing to worry about. That's the way writers are. So sure of themselves. Except they ought to stick to paper and pencil, not to their memories of North Woods. At 6 o'clock in the evening, there wasn't a fort in sight. And by 10 o'clock that night, even die-hard Dick had to admit.
Well, we're lost.
No.
Yeah, we're lost. I'm sorry, Charles. Well, you're being pretty monosyllabic about the whole thing.
Normal under the circumstances. Hey, that wasn't the wind, was it, Dick?
No, wolves.
Wolves?
Not afraid of them, are you?
Oh, no, I love them. Especially at night when I'm cold and hungry. And they are, too.
Well, we'll have to sleep in the trees.
You'll have to sleep in the trees. I wasn't built that way.
You can't sleep on the ground. You'll never live through the night if you...
I'm not sleeping on the ground, Dick. I'm walking until we find someplace.
Well, we might not find the fort till tomorrow morning.
Or tomorrow evening. But whenever it is, I'm going to find it as soon as possible. Even sooner than that, if that keeps up. You coming with me?
Sure, I'm with you.
Oh, boy, I'm hungry.
Oh, say, wouldn't a nice, thick, luscious steak taste good? You know, one of the charcoal broiled variety, dripping with butter and fried onions.
Oh, stop it.
Or one of Bertha's lamb stews with mashed potatoes and rich tomato gravy.
If you want to die, just keep on talking. Just the thought of food, and I'm a murdering maniac.
Oh, how about a real English roast beef with Yorkshire pudding?
Oh, you're asking for it. I wonder just how hungry that wolf is. Maybe he won't mind if his meat isn't cooked, huh?
I'm sure he won't. They're carnivori, which means in Latin carnivorous, or man-eaters. Hey, Charlie.
Huh?
Look, straight ahead of you. Isn't that a light over there?
Well, yeah, I think so. Hey, maybe it's the fort.
No, it's not the fort here. We're miles off the beaten track.
Well, what is it then?
I don't know. Looks like a cabin from here.
I'm not particular. Let's find out.
Fine, I'll lead the way.
Oh, no. You've led the way so far, but this time, Dick, my boy, I'm leading. Follow Charlie and see some food.
Food?
Food. Whoever lives there must eat. Maybe it's not steak, but it's something. It is a cabin, all right. Shall I knock on the door?
Well, you can't get in any other way.
Who can't? This rickety old shack could be blown down by a good strong breath. Funny-looking place, isn't it?
I'm not amused. Knock on the door. Such a timid knock.
My hand's numb.
Yeah, we'll try it again.
Hope this guy's friendly.
So do I. Uh-oh. Our friends are sniffing about again.
And I don't look at all well in tomato sauce. Oh, Charlie.
Evening. Something I can do for you, gentlemen?
We managed to...
We hope to find some place to stay for the night, sir. We're completely off the beaten track.
Uh-huh. You don't say. Come in. Come in, gentlemen.
Yes.
I'd be delighted to put you up this evening if you don't mind sleeping on the floor in the attic.
Well, at this point, we don't mind anything.
Don't you?
My name's Charles Costar, sir, and my friend is Dick Linton.
How do you do?
Yeah.
My name is Joel. Just Joel. At least, they used to call me Joel. Have you eaten yet this evening?
No, as a matter of fact, and we're starving.
Well, come in and sit down, and I'll fix you some dinner. That is, if you don't mind my meager rations.
Oh, we don't mind anything at this point. Do we, Dick?
Oh, no, definitely not. There's an old American saying, food is food. Let's eat, huh?
I'll fry some deer steak for you, and I've some wine.
Oh, wonderful. Tell me, Mr. Joel, do you live here all alone?
Unfortunately, yes. You see, I'm an outcast from your society. Let a man be different, and automatically he becomes an outcast.
Yeah, there's something in what you say.
Let him look a little different, or think a little different, or speak a little different. And he becomes a marked man. The individual is not allowed the privilege of individuality. Mankind doesn't permit it.
Oh, I don't think so, really.
Don't you? I'll just set the table, and you can sit down over here and eat.
Come along, Charles.
I can prove my point. Now, look at me. I'm different. Larger than most men. I, unfortunately, grew too tall. And I'm too ugly for the average man to stomach. I was hated. Yes, hated by your civilization and feared, too. Not because I was cruel or vindictive or dishonest, but because I was different. Yes, I'm a giant in stature.
Well,
don't feel badly for me. I've had my revenge on society, and I'll have even more revenge on little people like yourselves.
Yes.
It's quite understandable that you feel that way.
Gentlemen, before you sit down to dinner, allow me to hang your hunting guns up here. They'll bother you if you carry them around.
Oh, well, we really don't mind.
I mind. Your hunting gun, sir. And your hunting gun? There. Now I've both. I'll just hang them up here.
You say you live alone, Joel?
Yes.
That shoe in the corner, that was never your shoe. It's too small for you.
You're very observant, Mr. Linton. No, that wasn't my shoe. I found it in the forest one day and brought it home for the purpose of remaking it, like that coat hanging over there.
Found a coat and a shoe lying in this outlandish district?
Yes, a coat and a shoe. Of course, they were on a man, but he was dead. He died of... I don't quite know what he died of. His legs had been gnawed off by some prowling beasts.
Oh, he must have become lost out here, like ourselves, huh?
Exactly like yourselves, gentlemen. Exactly like yourselves. Dinner's ready.
Silence in the court. Silence in the court.
Now, go ahead with your testimony, Mr. Costar.
Well, you can see what a spot Dick and I were in. We didn't trust that man for a second. Believe me, he was... Well, darn it anyway, the man was unbalanced. It was well after we finished eating dinner that Joel lit a good, warm, roaring fire in the fireplace, and then...
Well, gentlemen, it's time to retire. I'm sleepy, and I'm sure you two are.
Yes, very sleepy. Mind if we take our guns upstairs? I'd like to clean them.
You won't need them this evening. You can clean them in the morning. Come along, please.
Yeah. Come on, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm right behind you, Dick.
Be careful of this stepladder. It's rickety, to say the least.
So I notice, yeah.
I'll go first and get the blankets out. Yes, fortunately, I have 2 blankets up here, although they're musty enough.
Oh, don't worry about us.
All right. Come up now.
Right away.
I'd feel a lot better if I had those hunting guns.
I don't blame you.
You can see for yourself, Mr. Linton, that this attic is not accustomed to guests. Musty. And the spiders are troublesome to strangers.
Spiders?
They are my friends. My only friends. They say he who shares a roof with you automatically becomes your friend. They have shared this roof with me for many years. Good night, gentlemen. Sleep well.
Oh, good night.
Great Scott, what kind of a mess have we gotten ourselves into?
I don't know. He's got a cog loose in his mind somewhere, that's certain.
Very certain. What'll we do?
I'll tell you. One sleeps and the other stands guard.
That won't do us any good, Dick. He's 10 times our size, and besides, we're unarmed.
I've got your 38 in my pocket. You forget about it, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Look, through these boards in the attic. You can watch Joel very easily. The fireplace throws a nice light on him.
How will we arrange the watch?
Well, you go to sleep for an hour.
Yeah.
Then I'll wake you up, give you the gun, and then I'll go to sleep for an hour, and you stand guard, okay?
Yeah. What time is it now?
1 a.m.
What's he doing down there?
Curling up on the floor near the fireplace. About to go to sleep.
I hope he sleeps well. Too well to wake up.
In case he doesn't, I hope your gun works. That's all.
Oh, I'm so sleepy.
Good night.
Proceed, Mr. Costar.
Yes, I put my head on the floor and slept. But I slept a troubled sleep. A restless sleep. And my hands kept clawing the floor. A floor that was alive with insect life. Then, no sooner had I put my head on the floor than it seemed Dick nudged me.
Wake up. It's 2 a.m.
Huh? Oh, okay. What happened?
Nothing. It's your turn now. Oh, I'm really licked. Really licked. So much walking and then all this.
He was quite right. All this. He lay down on the floor, and soon he was sound asleep. Sleeping like he was drugged. Poor Dick was all in. I sat upright, concentrating on sitting upright, to keep my eyes from closing. I was so tired, and my blood ran cold as I kept my eyes glued to the still figure which lay beneath us. The hut was so quiet that my wristwatch sounded like the beating of tom-toms in that silence. Tick, 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 beating off the seconds, perhaps slicing off the seconds left of our lives. And I waited and watched. Then suddenly the huge figure beneath me stretched his huge form in front of the fireplace and yawned. His large, expressionless eyes sought mine through the planks of the floor, and I thought for a moment he saw me sitting there. Perhaps my crouched figure in the attic somehow threw a shadow down on the floor of the hut below. Then he arose, cat-like. That huge form arose gracefully and quietly. He eased himself up and walked to the door, as if listening for someone or something. Then, just as quietly, he opened the door and...
Yes? Yes? Yes, come back shortly. Shortly.
He said, come back shortly. Who was he talking to? And what was he talking about? Come back. Come back to murder us. He shut the door just as gently as he opened it. And then returning to the place before the fire, he again curled up near the warmth of the blaze. I glanced down at my watch. It was 3 o'clock. I nudged Dick, gently at first, and then harder.
Hey.
Dick, your turn. Dick, wake up.
Oh, we're up so soon.
Yes. Here's the gun.
Okay, I'm awake. Anything happened?
Listen, he's got an accomplice.
What?
Somebody was standing outside the door a while back. He told him to come back shortly.
That explains the small shoe, maybe.
Maybe. Oh, I'm so tired, I don't think I can sleep. I don't think I can sleep.
You'll sleep. Just relax.
I don't think so. Really, I...
Come in. Come in.
Yeah? Are they asleep now?
Yes, fast asleep, the poor fools. One of them thought he could stay awake. I could see them taking turns staying awake. But I put enough dope in their wine to knock them out completely.
Have they much money with them?
Who knows? But whatever they have, we need. Here. Give me that log you brought in.
Here you are.
Now I'll splinter it like this. And light one end of it. Nothing like this wood burning to dope them completely.
What will we do with them later?
Put them outside for the animals.
I'll wait down here for you. You go upstairs.
I won't be long. These things never take very long.
Dick, give me the gun. Give me the gun. Dick, have you fallen asleep? Dick, wake up. Dick, are you doped? Dick, he's coming at us. Give me the gun. Give me the gun. Please, Dick, give me the gun. There, I've got the gun now. You're laughing at me. You're laughing.
Time to wake up now for the last time.
No, take this. There, that's got you. Where's your friend? Where's the little man? Dick, help me find the little man now. Help me. Dick. I was stunned. Completely stunned. The room looked strange to me. The smoking gun in my hand looked strange to me. The whole world seemed to blot out in front of my eyes, and suddenly I looked down at the dark mass lying at my feet, and then I looked up. My eyes were absolutely level with Joel's eyes as he climbed up into the attic. Then, in a voice filled with horror, he said,
Great Lord, sir. What have you done? You've killed him. And he was just about to wake you.
Yes. I killed Dick Linton, my best friend, when he was just about to wake me. I'd been dreaming, and I killed him.
Thank you, Mr. Castar. My next witness is Dr. Harding. Now, Dr. Harding, will you please take the stand?
Yes, sir.
Place your left hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. You heard the testimony of the defendant, Dr. Harding.
I did, sir.
Is it possible for a man asleep as he was, to fire the gun load at his best friend because of a nightmare?
It was more than a nightmare. It was somnolentia, sleep drunkenness. Overtired as Mr. Coster was, his nerves were overtaxed, and his fears and suspicions had been aroused. This result is perfectly natural and certainly medically sound. The defendant was not in his right mind at the time of the murder.
Thank you, Dr. Harding. Gentlemen of the jury, to sum up this case, Joel the Giant had told his guests the truth about the shoe. At the time he opened the door, He was just talking to his dog, who had been scratching outside. But to a man mentally exhausted and filled with fear, Joel's actions were certainly those which would arouse suspicion. Gentlemen, in behalf of my client, I beg leniency. Leniency.
Bertha, please, darling. It was all explained in court. This doesn't change anything between us, nothing at all.
Doesn't it? I love my brother more than you can understand, Charles. I know the court has ruled you innocent. But a court of law has very little to do with a woman's heart.
If you love me, Bertha...
I'll always love you. But I'll never be able to trust you again. There are 7 days in a week, Charles. Some of those days, I'll love you and forget this whole horrible affair. But more days, my brother's face will loom up in front of me.
But Dick would understand.
I wouldn't see you because his face would stand between us. I'd spend those days hating you. So, I'm leaving you, Charles. Take good care of yourself. I can't help it. I hope you understand.
Bertha, please.
Goodbye, Charles.
Bertha!
I told you, Charles Castar, I hate civilized society. Don't feel badly for me. I'll have my revenge on society. I'll have even more revenge on little people like you.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought to you the story, A Terrible Night. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Granite Furniture Company with stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo presents... The Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the series of radio dramas dedicated to the supernatural, the unusual, and the unknown. Come with me, my friends. We shall descend to the world of the unknown and forbidden, down to the depths where the veil of time is lifted and the supernatural reigns as king. Come with me and listen to the tale of Mansized in Marble. The Granite Furniture Company brings you the Hall of Fantasy. Listen now to original tales of the imagination and some of the classics of the supernatural as we take you down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy to the mysterious realms of the unknown. These are stories of eerie and fantastic thrills, brought to you by your friends at the Granite Furniture Stores. And now for tonight's story, a radio adaptation by Bob Olson of E. Nesbitt's story, Man-Size in Marble.
The villagers called it a delusion. That explanation gave them some comfort. Since it will give you comfort also, I'll say no more about it, except that it's difficult to understand how hallucinations can commit murder. Ours was one of those marriages on a dime. I'd been doing a bit of painting in those days and never knew what it was to have the money I really needed. But then Laura knew this before she married me.
Well, we'll get along if we're careful. You can paint and I'll write articles for the magazines.
Living in town will be out of the question, dear. Well, we can find some little place in the country.
As long as it's picturesque and sanitary. It doesn't matter where it is.
And so we spent our honeymoon lightheartedly looking for a place that was both sanitary and picturesque. The two qualities that rarely keep company in one cottage. Little rose-covered trellises would invariably hide the corruption that lurked inside. We'd looked so hard and were so confused by the eloquence of house agents that we seriously began to doubt if we could tell a house from a haystack, even if we found one. But when we came out to the little village of Brenzett and thence 2 miles out to see the famous little church, our search was ended. For there, just 2 fields away, was the cottage. Picturesque it was, for it was long and low, with rooms taking off in unexpected directions. 2 of the rooms were of ancient stonework, now covered with moss and ivy. It was all that remained of a huge manor that had stood here years ago. Around these rooms had risen the cottage as it stood this day quite by itself. Our nearest neighbor was a jolly Scotch doctor, McCarthy by name, whose cottage was a little distance down the lane. Our new home nestled cozily against a low hill and looked out across the marsh meadows to the sea. Yes, it was a pretty cottage. Though stripped of its roses and jasmine, it would no doubt have been hideous. The rent was absurdly cheap, and it seemed quite likely that between the 2 of us, we could keep the kettle simmering. We spent the rest of our honeymoon in second-hand shops, picking up odds and ends of oak and Chippendale until the cottage soon became very homey. Fully settled, we were so happy. And that day we looked from the latticed window onto the old-fashioned garden with its colorful splash of hollyhocks and lilies. Laura sat outlined against the window, I before my easel.
What are you painting, Van?
You, my dear?
Me? Well, why not this lovely countryside?
First my wife, then the countryside. And what are you writing?
A verse.
About what?
You.
It was a gay life, the sort that only the quite humble or the very rich could enjoy. Our fortune was added to when we found Mrs. Dorman, a tall peasant woman with a good face and figure to keep house for us. Laura was delighted with her, for Mrs. Dorman was full of stories of the past, stories of the smugglers and highwaymen who dominated this part of England, cutting purses and throats with equal zest. Better still were her stories about the things that walked and the sights that one met of a starry night. They gave Laura a good deal of material for her articles. Old wives' tales, I called them. 3 months passed quickly. We hadn't had a single quarrel. That's why it startled me when on the return from a visit to Dr. McCarthy, Laura, who had always been so happy, rushed to my arms and buried her dark little head on my shoulder and wept. Laura, what is it?
It's Mrs. Dorman.
Well, what about Mrs. Dorman?
She's leaving us.
Leaving us? Well, what on earth for?
She says that she must leave before the end of the month. She says that her niece is ill. But I don't believe her because, well, her niece has always been ill. She acted so queerly.
Don't cry, Laura. You know, it's a terrible shock to see you cry. I might cry a bit myself just watching you. And you'd never respect me again.
Oh, but it's serious. Those people in the village are so sheepy and... Well, if Mrs. Dorman leaves us without any explanation, no one will come and take her place. I just know it.
Well, then we'll share the housework.
But we'll have no time to earn what we need, and we've been doing so nicely now. We'll have to work all day and rest only when the kettle's boiling.
Oh, you exaggerate, Laura. We'll have less time, but there'll still be time. However, when Mrs. Dorman comes back, I'll have a talk with her. We'll come to some sort of terms. Tell you what. Let's take a walk up to the old church. The church was large and lonely, and we enjoyed the stroll in the moonlight. The path that went through a wood and along the crest of a little hill was called the bier path, for the dead had been carried along this path to be buried. The churchyard was enclosed by a low wall and ceilinged by several large elms whose branches stretched out as if in benediction over the dead. We entered the old church from a long, low porch and through a heavy oak door studded with iron. Inside, the arches rose up into the darkness. We strolled up to the chancel where the fine colored glass windows let in faint hues of filtered moonlight. It gave everything a substance of shadow, even the gray marble figures of the two knights who lay there in full plate armor with hands upheld in everlasting prayer. You know, it's a funny thing. If there is any light in this church at all, it seems to shine on these figures.
Who are they?
No one knows. The peasants say they were marauders, bandits, that they were the scourge of their day.
Does it give you kind of a strange feeling to know they used to live where we live now?
I hadn't thought much about it. Has Mrs. Dorman told you the story?
She doesn't know about it. She said the house was struck by a bolt of lightning.
I heard it was the vengeance of heaven against their foul deeds.
Funny how a pair like that would be given such an honored place in this little church.
Well, the gold was good, no matter where it came from. Their heirs probably bought the honor.
Those marble statues certainly aren't flattering.
Yeah. From the looks on the faces, even in marble, I doubt their conversion to Christianity. The church looked very weird as the shadows cast eerie forms about. We looked again at the sleeping warriors, and a feeling of awe came over us. Outside, we sat on the ancient stone seats, gazing out across the moon-misted meadows. A sense of quiet and peacefulness came over us. At such times, troubles don't exist. Well, feel better than you did, dear?
Yes, Vance. Oh, let's never leave this place. It's lovely.
Ah, yes. Wasn't it silly to get all worked up over Mrs. Dorman?
It's still a terrible nuisance.
Granted, but if scrubbing and blacking boots is the worst of our lot, we'll manage quite well even without Mrs. Dorman.
Of course we will.
Nevertheless, when we get back to the house, I'll have a talk to her. She should be there by now.
I hope you can convince her.
Mrs. Dorman, what's this I hear about your leaving?
Well, I'd like to leave before the end of the month, sir.
Well, aren't you happy here? Maybe you'd like a raise in your wages.
It's not that, sir. You and your lady have been most kind.
Well, then, suppose we work it out so that you can stay.
No, Mr. Longan, I'd rather leave. My niece is ill.
Yes, I know, but she's been ill all along. Would you consider staying on for another month?
No, sir. I want to leave before Thursday.
But this is Monday, woman. That's rather short notice. I'll tell you what. Stay on until next week.
Maybe I can come back next week.
But why must you go this week? Well, speak up.
It's this house, sir.
This house? Well, what about it?
They say that strange deeds was done here in olden times.
In olden times? Oh, but this is now. What deeds do you mean? Well, don't worry, Mrs. Dorman. I'm not going to laugh at you.
Well, sir, have you seen them two shapes beside the altar in the church?
You mean the effigies of the knights in armor?
I mean them two bodies drawn out man-size in marble.
A very graphic description, Mrs. Dorman, but what about the knights?
In the village, they say that on All Saints' Eve, those bodies come to life.
Those marble statues?
They say that they rise up from their slabs and walks down the aisle in their marble. Then when the church clock strikes 11, they come out into the night and walks over a gride.
But how do you suppose
When the night has been wet, there was the marks of their feet along the beer path.
Well, where do they go?
Back to their home.
Their home? But their home was...
In this house.
Well, did anyone ever see this happen?
I ain't saying. All I know is what I know.
Who was living here last year?
No one, sir. The lady who owned the house spent the summer here, but she always went up to London a good month before the night.
And so you think you must go?
Yes, sir. My niece is ill.
Oh, your niece... Oh, very well, Mrs. Dorman. Go if you think you must. But don't say anything about this to Mrs. Langham.
Must you go, Mrs. Dorman? Yes, ma'am. This is Thursday. I can't stay no longer.
It's going to put quite a load on us.
Don't try to do too much, Mrs. Langham. If there's anything I can do next week, well, I won't mind in the least. Thank you. Oh, but we'll try to manage.
And whatever you do, lock the door early tomorrow night and mark the sign of the cross over it.
What do you mean?
That's Mrs. Dorman's little Halloween joke, dear.
It's no joke. And if you ask me...
Goodbye, Mrs. Dorman.
Goodbye. And don't forget what I said.
What did she mean, Vance?
Nothing, dear. Mrs. Dorman is just a superstitious old biddy, that's all. I would have looked forward to Friday a much happier man if I could have believed what I had just told Laura. But Friday came the day before All Saints' Eve, the day this story ends. In fact, the day that gave this story its horrible substance.
You are listening to Mansized in Marble in tonight's journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy, brought to you by your friends at the Granite Furniture Company with stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo. And now back to tonight's story, Bob Olson's adaptation of Mansized in Marble.
I arose early that morning and had already built a rather smoky success of a fire when Laura came down as bright as the bright morning itself. We had breakfast and went after the housework. When the brushes and pails were silent at last, we set up and pails were silent at last, we set up and pails were silent at last, and spent one of the merriest days since our wedding. That afternoon we took a long walk, completely happy, and Laura sweeter than ever. I decided that housework was good for her. We watched the deep flame of sunset as it slowly faded to a dull gray, and then walked back to the cottage hand in hand without a word. Once inside, we sat in the parlor and seemed to settle into a deep silence. I thought it was a happy silence, and what I asked Laura had no particular significance at the time. You seem sad, Laura. I was surprised at her answer.
Yes, I don't think I feel quite well. I've had the shivers, and it isn't cold, is it?
No, unless it's one of those nasty mists that creep up from the marsh.
There is no mist, dear.
Doesn't seem to be at that. No mist. In that case, darling, you're not entitled to a chill. Sorry.
Vance,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever have a presentiment of evil?
Don't believe in them.
I do. When my father died, he was away in North Scotland. But the night he died, I knew it. Oh, forgive me, Vance. Come and light up the candles on the piano, and we'll play one of our duets.
Hmm. 10 o'clock already.
Light up your pipe if you'd like, Vance. I don't mind.
I think I'll take it outside.
May I come too?
No, dear. You're much too tired. I shan't be long. You get to bed or you'll be ill.
You're taking good care of me, darling.
Have to. Can't do all this housework by myself, you know.
Then give me a kiss.
That will be a pleasure.
Let me go with you.
You get some rest.
Vance,
Yes?
we've been very happy today, haven't we?
Even happier than usual, sweetheart.
You won't be gone long, will you?
No, dear. Not long. I stepped out, leaving the door unlatched, for I expected to be back shortly. The night was magnificent. Huge masses of clouds, dark and heavy, seemed to clasp hands and reach from horizon to horizon. Through this flowing stream of clouds moved the moon, like a dolphin diving in and out of an endless succession of waves. The treetops swayed like a metronome to the gentle swing of the clouds. There was the mystic glow on the earth that comes from the blend of dew and moonlight. I drank in the serene beauty of the night. There wasn't a hint of motion about. Not even a leaf stirred. The wind was high up, busy herding the clouds. Across the meadow, I saw the church tower standing out black against the sky. I suddenly thought of the 3 happy months I'd known here with Laura. Just then, the church sounded its bell. Hey, 11 o'clock. I should be getting back to the house. But first, I think I'll visit the church. I felt so happy and so very thankful. I wanted to take my gratitude to the old chapel that had heard the sorrows and the joys of its people for so many countless years. On my way, I passed our cottage and looked in the window where I saw Laura's dark little head silhouetted against the pale blue wall. She was very still. I decided not to disturb her. I turned down Beer Path. It was such a peaceful night that at first I was conscious of nothing. And then, suddenly, I became aware of a rustling sound that broke the stillness ever so gently. I stopped to listen. The sound stopped, too. I took another step and listened. The step seemed to echo my own. Well, if that's a poacher, he's a fool not to step more lightly. I left the Beer Path and took to the woods. The footsteps seemed to echo along the path I had just left. It was strange. Yes, it was strange. Ah, but then, all night sounds are strange. I passed through the corpse gate and walked among the graves to the low porch of the church. The door was open. Did I leave that open? I'd hate to have the damp get in and ruin those fine old fabrics. I went in and was halfway up the aisle when suddenly I remembered. That bell struck 11 o'clock. This is the very day, the very hour when the shapes drawn out man's size in marble begin to walk. Once I did remember, it came on me with a shiver. And I was ashamed. And so to make up for it, I walked boldly to the altar. I did that because I wanted to tell Mrs. Dorman how peacefully the shapes had slept through the ghastly hour. And so with my hands nonchalantly shoved into my pockets, I passed up the aisle. In the dim gray light, the other end of the church looked it looked larger than usual. The arches above the two tombs seemed to have grown too. At that moment, the moon came out from behind a cloud, and in the ghostly beams of light, I saw the reason. They're gone. I steadied myself. It's some fool's practical joke. They can't be gone. I'm not in the right place. It's too dark to see here clearly. Yes, that's it. I took a newspaper from my pocket and lit it with a match. It flared up brightly. The confirmation was sickening. The bodies drawn out man's size in marble had actually disappeared from the church. Suddenly I was gripped with an indefinable horror. It was an overwhelming certainty of finished calamity. I drew down the torch and dashed down the aisle, out the front door and into the night. They're gone! They're gone! Help me, someone! The bodies! They're gone!
Settle down, man.
Let go of me, you fool. The marble figures have gone from the church. They've disappeared, I tell you.
Hey, they know. You've been smoking too much. Smoking and listening to old wives' tales.
But, Doctor, I've seen the bare slabs with my own eyes. They're gone, I tell you.
We'll come back with me. I'm going up to the Palmer's now. His loss is sick. We'll have a look into the bare slabs.
Well, you can go if you like. I'm going home to Laura.
Rubbish. I'll not permit it. You can't go around all your life as saying you saw a slab of marble gain vitality. You can't do it, man.
I'm not going back there.
Then you want that you should be a coward?
Coward? No, but...
I coward. I nae can help you if you didn't go down with me.
Oh, all right. Come on.
No, here we are at the church. Come in with me.
I'm coming.
Oh, what have you got your ears closed for? Here, I'll strike a match. No, look there. What have you had to drink, man?
I opened my eyes, and what I saw made me absolutely mad. A huge black screen dropped across my reason. For there on the cold gray slabs were the two grotesque shapes in their marble. Dr. McCarthy, I simply don't know what to say. It must have been the light, or maybe I have been working too hard. You know, I was sure they were gone.
I am quite aware of that. You'll have to do something about that brain of yours. But wait. Look at this hand.
What's wrong with it, Doctor?
It's been broken. There's a finger missing.
Finger? But the last time I saw it, it was perfect.
Someone may have tried to remove it.
That can't be right. My impression was that they were gone. Completely disappeared.
That was too much tobacco and painting.
Perhaps. Well, come along, Dr. McCarthy. My wife will be getting anxious. I told her I wouldn't be gone long.
Well, I should be going off to the Palmers.
I'd appreciate it if you'd come on to the cottage with me and drink to my better senses. Or confusion to all ghosts or something.
Well, it's pretty late, no. I had to see a lot of people tonight. I could go to the Palmers tomorrow. All right, I'll come with you.
I believe I needed the sensible old doctor more than the Palmer girl did.
You've had an illusion, man. Nothing more than an illusion.
Yes, I fancy you're right about that, Doctor. But it was a most amazing one. Dr. McCarthy then went into a dissertation on ghosts and apparitions as we walked on up to the cottage. When we reached the garden path, I was a little puzzled by the bright light that was streaming out the front door. Soon I saw that it was wide open. Had Laura gone for a walk? Well, come on in, Doctor. We'll find Laura and then pour ourselves a drop of whiskey.
Good.
The house was ablaze with candles. Laura had not only lit the wax ones, but there must have been a dozen other sputtering, glaring tallow dips stuck all over the room in odd little places. Laura, we have company. Oh, Laura! I wonder if she went out for a walk. Laura!
Vance!
Yes?
Look.
Where?
Laura!
There in the little recess of the window I saw her. What had she been doing there? Looking for me? But the doctor said it before I quite dared to.
Someone's been in this room. Does Gina belong here?
Who?
Who?
Laura didn't move. Her mouth was drawn and her eyes were wide open. Very wide. She looked as if she'd heard a footstep behind her and turned to meet... What? I passed my hands over her eyes. They saw nothing. What had they seen last? The doctor moved toward her, but I pushed him aside as if I were afraid of what he'd say. And then I took her in my arms. Laura, darling. I've got you now. You're safe.
She's safe. She's dead.
Oh, no. She fell into my arms like a limp, loose-jointed doll. I was slightly mad with this horrible sense of loss. But I knew she was dead. I knew it, and nothing mattered anymore. Laura was dead, and the world was dead. And I silently prayed that I might die.
What's in her hand?
I don't know. I don't care. Laura's dead. But the doctor pried open her fingers, and soon something fell out of that grim clutch and dropped to the floor. We looked at it, and then at each other. For what we saw was no hallucination. It seemed to fairly shriek its defiance to reason. For there on the floor was a gray marble finger.
And so runs the tale of Man-Sized in Marble. Remember to join us next week at the same time for another journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy.
Tonight's story was adapted from the story by E. Nesbitt entitled Man-Sized in Marble. Heard in tonight's program were Carl Grayson as Vance Langham, Beth Calder as Laura, Phyllis Perry as Mrs. Darman, and Archie Hughley as Dr. McCarthy. Musical background was provided by Earl Donaldson. The technical supervisor was Nephi Sorensen. This program was written by Bob Olson and produced and directed by Richard Thorne. Remember, be with us again next Sunday night on call at 8:30 p.m. when the Granite Furniture Stores in Sugar House, Murray, and Provo will take you on another journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy.
Mutual presents The Mysterious Traveler. This is The Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, and it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable if you can. As you hear the story I call, I Won't Die Alone. Our story begins in 1931. Two young men are speeding along in a car on a lonely West Virginia road at 70 miles an hour. There's a tight, tense look on the face of the driver, Steve Martin, as he takes the curves on the road without slowing down. His companion, Chuck Williams, wipes the perspiration from his face with trembling hands. He turns and watches the road behind fearfully, now and then glancing at Steve's face for reassurance.
Turn on the radio, Chuck. Let's see if they got an alarm out yet.
Yeah, okay. Well, what do you think our chances are, Steve?
Hard to say. All depends on how fast the cops spread the word.
The two men robbed the Third National Bank of Louisburg of over $250,000 shortly before closing time. Word has just been received that the two bank robbers are now driving east on Highway 6B toward the Allegheny Mountains.
That's not good.
State Police Car 9 take up position at junction of Highway 11A and River Road.
They're moving fast.
State Police Car 10 take up position at junction of Highway 3 and Highway 6B.
Steve, Highway 6B, we're on it.
Yeah.
That is all. Stand by for further orders.
Steve, you gotta turn back. We're headed for a trap.
Take it easy, will you? There's still a chance. 20 miles ahead, there's a small dirt road that'll detour us right around them.
20 miles? We'll never make it, Steve. Isn't there any other road we can turn off on?
No.
Are you sure?
I was born in these parts. I know every inch of the country.
Steve, let's ditch the car and cut towards the mountains on foot.
Are you crazy? It's 40 miles to the mountains. We'd never make it walking. We've got to keep driving. It's our only chance.
We'll run right into that trap, I tell you. They'll be waiting with Tommy guns. We'll be dead pigeons.
Okay, then we'll be dead pigeons.
I'd give up my share to haul right now to be out of this. You gotta get me out of this, Steve. You gotta.
Oh, shut up.
Look, Steve, if you were to let me out of the car and keep on going yourself, I might be able to get away. The cops would be so busy chasing you, I'd be able to give them the slip.
You lousy rat.
Now, look at it my way, Steve. There ain't no use both are getting caught. That don't make sense.
You're great when it comes to sharing the dough, but when the heat's on, you want out.
Yeah, but I'm willing to pay for, you can keep my share of the bank call. Now, that's fair enough, ain't it? Huh?
A lot of good that dough'll do me if I get caught, but I'm sick of hearing you whine. All right, it's a deal. If I get through, the dough's all mine. If I don't, well, I don't.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks. I'll never forget this.
Come on, get out.
Hey, which way do I go, Steve?
Head across the fields until you hit a small stream. Then head upstream for about 6 miles. There's a railroad water tower there. You ought to be able to hop a freight.
Thanks, Steve. I'll be seeing you.
Yeah. So long, Chuck.
Flo, where are you?
Here, Chuck. I was wondering when you'd show up. See by the paper they got Steve.
Yeah. Now, let me see that paper. It says here they caught him yesterday afternoon at 5. An hour after I left him.
What'd you do, run out on him?
No, I didn't run out on him. I just played it smart. What are you looking at me like that for? There wasn't no sense in both our being caught, was there?
No, I guess not. Where's the dough?
What dough?
The $254,000 you got in the bank job.
Steve had the dough.
What? Look what it says there in the paper.
Huh?
Go ahead, read it.
Martin, when captured, told police he knew nothing about the stolen bank money. Police believe that Martin's unknown companion escaped with the loot. But I didn't, Floyd. Steve had that dough when I left him.
Then why didn't the police find it when they caught him?
There's only one answer. Steve stopped and hid the dough someplace before he got him.
Yeah, that must be it. Steve's too smart to risk being caught and having all that dough taken away from him. Poor guy. They'll probably throw the book at him.
Where you been so long? What happened at the trial?
They give him 25 years.
25 years?
Mm-hmm.
How did he take it?
He didn't bat an eye.
Maybe he'll think things over and squeal on me.
Oh, stop sniffling, will you? Steve isn't the kind of a guy to do anything like that.
Yeah, sure. Why should he want to squeal on me? Besides, if he did, the cops would find out that I didn't have the bank, though. That it's Steve who got it. He wouldn't want that to happen. Sure. Why, with good behavior, he'll be out in 18 or 19 years. Then he'll have all that dough hid.
I'd rather have the 18 or 19 years than the dough. Well, it's been nice knowing you, Chuck.
Oh, wait a minute, Flo. Don't go.
What?
Why not stick around? We'd make a good team. We don't need Steve.
We don't, huh? And just what would I get sticking around? You haven't got brain, muscle, or dough. What's the attraction?
Listen, Flo, stick with me and I'll get dough. I've always gotten what I wanted in the end.
Without Steve, you haven't got a chance. He had all the brains, all the guts.
Yeah, and what did it get him? You notice I ain't behind bars. And I'll get that big dough yet.
3 cheers. When you do, look me up.
17 years passed. 17 years in which earth-shaking events took place. With the passing of time, Steve Martin became just a memory to Chuck Williams and Flo Duval. During the 30s, Chuck struggled desperately to make money in a half-dozen petty rackets, but failed miserably. However, with the coming of the war, his luck changed, and in the years that followed, he thrived on the black market. And with his newfound wealth, he was able to win Flo Duval. 1948 found Chuck Williams a happy, prosperous citizen without a care in the world.
How many times have I told you to knock before you come into this office?
Look, Napoleon, save that big shot stuff for your stooges.
Same old Flo. I guess that's what I like about you, baby.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, you've got that superior look on your face again. Who are you planning to knife now?
Just got word that our old pal Steve is getting out of prison tomorrow.
Steve Martin?
The one and only. Been 17 years now. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Think I'll drive down to the prison. Be there when Steve gets out.
What for? You haven't bothered to write or visit him since the day he was sent up?
I know. But, it's a matter of unfinished business between the two of us.
Unfinished business?
Yeah. To be exact, $254,000.
You mean you're going after that dough that Steve has stashed away?
That's just what I mean.
But you gave up your share of that bank dough the day you and Steve separated.
Man can always change his mind.
Chuck, leave Steve alone. That money by rights is his. He paid 17 years for it. Besides, you don't need it. You got more dough than that already.
Maybe so, but that isn't going to stop me from getting that $254,000. And you ought to know by this time I always get what I go after. I got you, didn't I, baby, huh? Remember, baby, when those gates open and Steve comes out, let me do the talking.
Don't worry, I will. I don't want any part of this dirty deal.
Relax, baby, relax. When I get that 254 G's, I'll buy you a fancy diamond bracelet. Then you'll feel better.
Hey, boss. They're opening the gate. Is that him?
No. Steve's twice as big as that guy.
Chuck, That is Steve.
Can't be. That guy looks at least 6. You're right. It is Steve. Stay in the car. Hey, Steve. Steve, over here. What's the matter? Don't you remember an old pal?
Oh, Chuck. Well, I didn't recognize you at first.
Put it here, pal.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of surprised to see you after all these years.
Well, I've been living in South America most of the time. Only got back a year ago. I know I should have written you, but I never was any good at that.
Boy, yeah, sure smells better out here.
Come on. Let's get in my car. I got a surprise for you.
Huh? Surprise?
Yeah. You remember Flo Duval, don't you? Well, there she is.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Flo. Hey, it's nice seeing you again.
Come on, Steve. Get in. We're driving you to town.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay, Felix, back to town.
Right, boss.
You don't look well, Steve.
It's just this prison parlor, Flo. And 17 years.
Well, that's all behind you now, Steve. A few weeks of good rest and good food. You'll be a new man.
I'd like to believe that.
Just take my word for it. I'm never wrong.
Well, you seem to have done all right, Chuck.
Yeah, not bad. I own a nightclub, a bowling alley, used car business, a couple of apartment houses. I can't complain.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm not forgetting an old pal either. Now, Flo and me want you to come and stay with us until you get on your feet. You know, a house guest.
I'd rather not, Chuck. I don't want to put you out.
Put me out? Ha! Listen to the guy. Well, we got suite servants, everything. Steve, I just won't take no for an answer.
A week passed, then 2 weeks, during which Steve Martin did little other than eat and sleep and take long walks. Chuck Williams played the role of the gracious host to perfection, and his guest lacked nothing in the way of comfort. So concerned was Chuck with his guest's welfare that he always knew exactly where Steve was and what he was doing. Then one day, as Chuck had known it would happen, Steve came into his office for a private chat.
Hey, you busy?
No. Have a seat, Steve.
Thanks.
What's on your mind?
Well, while I was doing time, my old man died and left me a small farm in West Virginia. That's where I was born and raised, you know.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Well, I'm going back to the old farmhouse and settle down there for a while.
I see. Well, anything you say, Steve. Only let's keep in touch, huh?
Yeah, sure thing, Chuck.
When are you thinking of leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
Well, that's soon, huh? Well, we'll have to have a little farewell party tonight, okay?
Yeah, fine. I'll see you later.
Right you are. Felix, come in here.
What's up, boss?
My pal, Steve, is getting ready to make his move.
Guess he can't wait no longer to get his hands on that dough.
Looks that way. He's leaving tomorrow morning for a small farm he's got in West Virginia.
West Virginia, huh?
Yeah. Farmhouse can't be more than 30 or 40 miles from where he stashed the dough.
Is there any chance he might have hidden it on the farm?
Nah. Cops caught him before he got that far. He hid that dough someplace off Highway 6B.
How many of the boys you want me to take along?
Take 4. I don't want any slip-ups. Watch him day and night, and without being seen.
Just leave it to me.
Sooner or later, he'll lead you to the dough. When he does, well, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, then. You better start packing.
The next morning, when Steve Martin took a train for West Virginia, 2 very inconspicuous men were seated at the other end of the coach he was riding in. They watched him get off the train at an all but deserted station in West Virginia, but made no move to follow him. As the train started off, Steve hired a car to take him to the farm he'd inherited. It was dusk when he finally reached the deserted farmhouse. On a heavily wooded hill 100 yards away, Felix and a companion watched through field glasses as Steve lit a fire in the farmhouse and prepared to settle down for the night. In the days and nights that followed, Felix and his men took turns watching Steve Martin's every action. And every evening, Felix would phone Chuck Williams and report that Steve hadn't made a move as yet.
How many times have I told you to knock before coming into this office?
What's the matter, Napoleon? Are things working out?
I told you to lay off that Napoleon stuff. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
That must be Felix. Hello?
Hello, boss. Felix.
Well, what's happening?
Nothing. He still hasn't made a move. All he does is fish and read.
What about visitors?
He hasn't seen anyone since the day he got here.
Are you sure he didn't give you the slip during the night and get the dough?
Not a chance. I got 2 boys watching the house at night.
Well, maybe he knows he's being watched, and that's why he hasn't tried anything.
I'd bet my last buck he hasn't spotted us.
Nothing ever goes right unless I'm running the show. I'm leaving tonight for West Virginia. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay, boss. I'll be expecting you. That's a farmhouse down there, boss. Look through the field glasses. You can see it just like you were standing in the front yard.
He's sitting on the porch reading.
Yeah, reading and fishing is all he does. He hasn't been more than a couple of 100 yards away from the house since he got here.
Well, he must have spotted you. That must be the reason he hasn't made a move.
How could he have spotted us? You can see how careful we've been.
Well, I'll wait a couple more days. See what happens. If he doesn't move soon, I'll have to think of something else.
Leaving Felix to continue his watch over the farmhouse, Chuck returned to the village and registered at the village inn. The hours that followed dragged interminably, and the hatred that Chuck felt for Steve Martin grew with each passing hour. In the evening, Felix drove into the village and reported that nothing new had occurred. 4 more fruitless days went by. Chuck Williams was unable to contain his fury any longer. He got into his car and drove to within a half-mile of the farmhouse, then walked the rest of the way to where Felix and his men were hidden on the hill.
Boss, what are you doing here?
I got tired of waiting.
You better get down, boss, or Steve Martin's liable to spot you.
Forget that. We're through playing a waiting game. We're going to move in on him.
Move in on him?
Yeah. Maybe after a light workout, my pal Steve will be willing to tell me where he stashed the dough.
That sounds more like it. I never did go for this cat and mouse game.
Before we're through with him, he'll be begging to tell us what he knows. Hello, Steve. Got lonesome for you. Decided to pay you a call.
I thought you'd get around to it sooner or later.
You don't sound very glad to see me. That's a fine way to act towards a pal who was your host for the last 3 weeks. Didn't I treat you right?
Yeah. That's what made me figure I hadn't seen the last of you. What do you want?
I'll give you one guess.
I haven't got it.
I know you haven't, but you know where it is.
So what? That money belongs to me, not you.
That's where you're wrong, pal. That dough belongs to the guy strong enough to get it. That's me.
Okay, then you go ahead and get it.
Should I let him have it, boss?
That's not up to me, Felix. That's up to Steve. Well, pal, you gonna dig up that dough for me?
No.
You're not as smart as you used to be. You know I'll get what I want in the end.
I wouldn't count on it.
Okay, Felix. I guess it's up to you and Slim now.
I'll talk. Won't you, pal? That's it, pal. Try getting on your feet. Here, let me help you.
How is he, Felix?
It's out cold, boss.
He always did have a stubborn streak. You think in his condition he couldn't take all that punishment.
We give him any more, he's liable to kick off.
Sure?
Yeah. He's already got a couple of busted ribs, and that beating around the head didn't help any.
We gotta make him talk. We gotta.
You have to figure out some other way.
Throw some water in his face.
Okay. Just come to, boss.
Prop him up in a chair.
Come on, you. There.
Steve, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Felix here wants to try the water treatment.
Water treatment?
Yeah. Now, why don't you play it smart and tell me where you hid that dough? Won't talk, huh? Okay, Felix.
Wait, I'll talk.
Well, it's more like it. Where is it?
You could never find it alone. I'll have to take you to it. Just you and me.
What's the matter with Felix coming along?
Just you than me.
Okay, pal, okay. Only I'm wondering if you're in condition to make it. Hey, Felix.
Yeah,
Give him
boss.
a few drinks, try to fix him up.
Right.
As soon as you've done that, Steve and me will be on our way.
An hour later, Steve, with the assistance of Felix, tottered to Chuck Williams' car and got in the front seat. Chuck slid behind the wheel and started the motor. As he drove off, he waved to Felix triumphantly. In a few minutes, the farmhouse had faded from view. Steve, huddled in a corner of the front seat, fought to keep from crying out every time the car hit a rut in the road. Now and then, he opened his pain-filled eyes to look out the window. Chuck watched him with satisfaction as he drove.
How much further is it?
You drive about 5 miles until you reach a small gravel road where you'll see a big sign saying the Devil's Caverns. You turn right there and go 2 miles.
The Devil's Caverns? What are they?
They're a big tourist attraction in these parts during the summer. Hundreds of huge underground caverns that run for miles in all directions.
You mean that's where you stashed the dough?
Yeah. The best place in the world.
How do you know you'll be able to find it again?
I know every inch of the caverns. When I was a kid, my old man worked as a tourist guide there. I learned my way around from him.
Okay. But you better find that dough. I'm warning you.
I'll find it. Well, you should be reaching the gravel road in a couple of minutes. Turn right, then it's 2 miles to the Devil's Caverns. This is it. Park the car in that shed over there.
Place sure looks deserted.
No one ever comes here until June.
Is that the entrance to the caverns, that door set in the rock?
Yeah. You'll have to shoot the lock off the door.
Is this okay?
Yeah. No one will ever be able to spot the car here.
But you said no one comes here until June.
No one does. Why take chances? We'll need a flashlight.
I got one. Come out this way. If you're thinking of any tricks, don't. Remember, I got this gun, and you're in no condition to try anything.
Yeah, you saw to that.
How come you didn't hide out here when the cops were after you?
Well, there wasn't any place to hide the car. Shed wasn't here 17 years ago.
Tough. Never saw such a lonely-looking place.
Yeah. Well, you ought to be able to blow this padlock off with one shot.
You better stand over there. Yeah, that does it. How much further is it? Seems like we've been walking an hour already.
It's right up ahead.
Sure you can find your way out again? All these cabins look alike to me.
Yeah, I know the way out.
Sure is damp in here. Hey, what was that?
Oh, probably just a rat running past you. Place is full of them.
Seems to me it's taken a long time to find that place where you hid the dough. If you're trying anything,
Here's where it is. I'll hold the flashlight a little higher. That's it. I hid the suitcase behind this rock.
Got it?
No, not yet. Here it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, all right. I can still recognize it. Open it up.
Well, there's the dough.
Yeah. Still in the bank wrappers. Look at it. Over $250,000. What's so funny? Answer me.
So you're the guy who always gets what he goes after in the end, huh?
Yeah, now I got the dough. And I'm asking you again, what's so funny?
Look at the money. Go ahead, look at it.
I'm looking. What about it?
Yeah, you're looking, mastermind, but you don't see. All those bills are goldbacks.
Goldbacks?
Yeah, that's right. In 1933, the government called in all goldbacks. That's how the kidnapper Bruno Hauptmann got caught, trying to pass goldbacks after the government had called him in.
You mean that dough is no good?
That's just what I mean. You try passing any of that dough and you'll end up doing time.
You've known all along that dough was no good?
Ever since 1933. Knowing it was worthless, I never intended coming here for it. But you made me.
I ought to let you have it, you rat, for leading me on like this.
Well, why don't you?
Come on, pick up that suitcase. Let's get out of here.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to tell you, Chuck.
Tell me what?
I'm staying here.
You're staying here?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, look, I've had enough out of you. Start leading the way out.
I guess you didn't understand. I said I'm staying here.
Get going or you'll get it right between the eyes.
That doesn't scare me. You see, Chuck, there was something else I didn't tell you.
Something else?
Yeah. I didn't get out of prison on good behavior. I got out because the doctor said I was going to die in 3 months.
You're going to die in 3 months?
Yeah, that's right. I thought I'd die peacefully on my farm. Only you wouldn't let me do that. So I've decided to die here. With you, as company.
Steve, you can't do that. You can't do that, Steve. You gotta get me out of here. You gotta.
I don't have to do anything I don't want to.
But get me out of here, Steve. I'll make it worth your while. I got dough. I got lots of dough.
It's too bad you won't be able to take it with you.
Steve, I'll give you 100 G's. 200 G's if you get me out of here.
Not going to be tough for me to die, because I only got 3 months anyway. But I'm going to enjoy watching you. You're going to get weaker and weaker as you plead with me to lead you out of here. Then you're going to get desperate and try to find a way out by yourself. But you'll never make it. You'll go wandering from one cabin to another, and then in the end you'll probably wander back here to find me dead. And your flashlight's going to go out. Huh? You'll be all alone in the dark with the rats and the bats.
Oh, stop it! Stop it or I'll shoot!
And as you go weaker, the rats are going to close in on you before you know it.
Steve. Steve. I didn't mean it. Oh, you made me. Steve, say something. He's dead. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here. Help! Help! Help!
This is the mysterious traveler again. Did you enjoy our little trip? What happened to Chuck Williams? Oh, the poor fellow was found dead a month later when the cabins were open for the summer tourist trade. Seems Chuck had wandered from cabin to cabin without being able to find his way out. Evidently, he'd gone mad in his last hours, for he was found with his pockets stuffed full of bills. Goldbacks. Now, I recall another case in which 2 ghosts came face to face, only to discover that... Oh, you have to get off now. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at this time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. In tonight's story, all characters were fictional, and any resemblance to the name of an actual person, living or dead, was purely coincidental. In the cast were Maurice Tarplin, Joe Julian, Art Carney, Elspeth Eric, and Alan Manson. Original music was played by Paul Taubman. The Mysterious Traveler is written, produced, and directed by Robert J. Arthur and David Cogan. Listen next week to a tale titled
Death Writes a Letter.
Another strange and suspenseful tale of the mysterious traveler. Don't miss the chilling tale titled 7 Casks of Death, written by Maurice Tarplin, your mysterious traveler, which appears in the current issue of Dime Mystery Magazine, now on sale at your local newsstand. This program has come to you from New York. Another program of tense and dramatic action will follow in just a minute. Stay tuned to the station for Official Detective. Carl Caruso speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Lights out for the devil and Mr. O. It is later than you think. Turn out your lights now. We bring you stories of the supernatural and the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and the mysteries of the unknown. We tell you this frankly so that if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays, we urge you calmly but sincerely to turn off your radio now. This is Mr. O. Arch Ogler. Nature Study is the title of our story. Nature Study. That's a charming pastime, the wonders of nature and all its infinite variety. But the most varied and fantastic subject of all, I think, is the nature of man and woman, the saint in them, the devil in them. And now, if you haven't already done so, turn off your lights for Nature Study.
There we are.
There we are where?
Look about you.
Oh, my goodness, it is beautiful, isn't it?
I did not know this is where we were going.
It's like a canyon, isn't it?
It is a canyon. A cleft in the rocks few people in this part of the country know.
Well, I'm sitting down to rest my poor
No, Miss Guard, we must go on.
Oh, no, where
are we going?
Come now, come. On all our other Sunday nature study trips, I've never had such revenge.
Because we've never walked so far before. That's right.
Where is it you are taking us today, Mr. Anna? To Canada?
My dear friends and neighbors, we're exactly 15 miles from home.
You could think we're out of this world.
Yes. Even in the midst of the city's turmoil, one can find nature's true isolation.
Well, where do we go from here?
There's a little path down through the canyon. There we will find lichens of many varieties.
Oh, my goodness, what's that?
My dear.
I know. They are like little ferns in the rock.
Excellent, Mr. Kamarin, excellent.
Oh, I remember from last week.
You will note these scratches on the face of the rock.
Who did it?
Not who. What? The glacier. What's the matter, Miss Guard? You seem displeased.
All I want to say is this. Do you mean to say we came all this way by subway and streetcar and bus just to see some old rock scratches?
Well, there isn't any place in the state that has a finer record of glacial action.
How do you like that? I thought I was going to see flowers and then just scratches and rocks.
Well, Miss Guard, Mr. Arno, he's a smart man. He knows
Well, then maybe he knows I want to go home. I see you're tired. This is all there is to see. I'm starting back now. Oh, come on, Miss Wilkins. Let's get out of here. Find some real excitement.
Well, I don't know. After all, Mr. Arnold took all the time and come. What's that?
Something up there. The rock. Look out. Miss Wilkins. Miss Wilkins. She passed out, I think.
You all right?
Yeah, fine. Oh, she's all right.
Miss Wilkins, are you hurt? Are you...
Oh, sure. She just fainted. And no wonder all those rocks falling down.
It's a miracle we weren't hurt. You all right, Mr. Kamara?
Oh, sure. We are all right. Nobody hurt, so don't...
Miss Wilkins,
what's the matter?
Under that rock.
Legs.
Who? Miss Guard. It's Miss Guard.
The rock? Get him off.
Get her out.
The rock, no.
Get her out.
No, Miss Wilkins. Stay back. We'll get her out.
Yeah, we'll do it. Come on. Hurry. And the other one now. Come on. Now, even more.
There. One more rock. You hear that, Miss Wilkins? One more rock.
She's dead. I know she's dead.
I can't move. Lift more, Mr. Arno.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, Miss Guard.
No, wait. Look. Miss Wilkins, be quiet. Miss Guard, she's still alive.
Alive?
But how can...
She's trying to talk. Yes, Miss Guard, I'm here. I'm listening. Yes, what is it? I
don't know.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you, Miss Guard. What are you trying to tell us?
Yes, what, Miss Guard, what?
I can't die without
She's dead. You feel better now, Miss Wilkins?
Oh, all right.
Oh, don't try to get up. Just rest. Rest. A few minutes more or less won't make any difference. Now,
Mr. Arnold,
yes, Mr. Kamaran?
I have been sitting here. I have been trying to figure it out in my head. Why is it?
Well, there must have been a fissure in the rocks. The action of frost and rain loosened them, and perhaps the vibration of our horses.
No, I'm thinking, why should it hurt her, not us?
Well, I guess that's what you'd call fate.
Do you think... Did she really kill her husband, like she said?
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about her except she was a neighbor.
Yeah. But she lived in our building for a whole year already.
I really don't know about her.
I know.
You, Miss Wilkins?
Tell us, please.
She told me. She used to sing in a nightclub.
So? Really?
One morning she wasn't feeling good. She came down to my apartment. I guess she felt like talking. She told me she used to work in this nightclub, and then she married this rich fellow, lots older than she was, lots of money, and she married him, and she didn't like him very much, and all of a sudden he died.
Oh.
Did she tell you that there was anything unusual about his death?
No. She just said all of a sudden he died.
Like poison?
Oh, what are we sitting here for? Let's get out of here. Quick, let's get out of here.
Yes, Mr. Arnold, why do you sit there? Lead us the way out.
Mr. Arnold, what's the matter with you? Why do you sit there looking at us?
I didn't want to say anything before.
Say what?
Say what?
I went over there, the only way out of the canyon. The rocks have blocked it off.
Oh.
I'm very much afraid we can't get out.
It's no use talking to me, Mr. Arnold.
But it's so dangerous.
Dangerous? What is dangerous? I climb up. The rocks are like stairs. I pull up over the top and I am off.
Oh, but I insist it's dangerous. That tumble of rocks. Miss Wilkins, am I not right?
Well, we just can't wait in here forever, and I'm sure that Mr. Kamaran knows what he's doing.
That is a very smart girl. Look at that wall. It is nothing.
Oh, but
you don't worry, Mr. Arnold. I told you the rocks along here like steps. I climb up and I go and get help, and soon I have you out of here. All you do is to help me up that first rock.
Well, all right, if you insist.
Sure. Put your hands together in a grip.
Like that?
That is right. I put my foot in your hand and you push up and give a boost, right?
Yes.
All right. Hold your hands down.
Right.
I get my foot. Now, lift.
Here we go.
There. I am up. So. Well, I'm up here already. The rest of the way to climb is easy. What did I tell you?
Be careful, Mr. Kamaran.
Here I go.
He is very strong, isn't he?
What'd you say, Miss Wilkins?
He is very strong, isn't he?
Oh, yes. Careful of loose rocks, Mr. Kamaran.
I'm all right.
Test every handhold. Those rocks are loose.
He'll get us out of here. I know he will.
Yes, he will.
He's up so high.
Oh, yes.
I just can't watch anymore.
Well, he only has a few more feet to go, and he'll be over the edge. You're doing very well, Mr. Kamaran.
Sure. I told you. Your Kamaran, he always down.
Mr. Kamaran, what's
the matter with him?
I don't know. He suddenly stopped talking, isn't moving. Mr. Kamaran, what is the matter? Mr. Kamaran.
My arm. Come on. I can't hold.
Cramp in his arm. Hold on, Mr. Kamaran. I'll try to get up to you. Don't let go. I'll try to let go. Mr. Kamaran. Mr. Kamaran.
He's dead.
No, I don't think so. He lifted up his head.
Oh.
Mr. Kamaran, what?
I couldn't hold on.
Don't move.
No. Listen. I don't tell you.
Yes, I'm listening.
All broken. We'll be dead. We'll be dead. Can't die without telling. He never came back. They thought he had run away. Not through that. I wanted his knife. So I killed him. I killed him. Buried him. I killed my brother. Where are you? Miss Wilkins, are you hiding? Miss Wilkins, you shouldn't have run away like that. You shouldn't. We'll work something out together. We'll get out of here. Oh, there you are. Why did you hide back here? Nothing's going to hurt you. Nothing.
You're wrong.
What?
I'll never get out. Never.
But why should you say that? This canyon is well known. Sooner or later, any moment, someone will come along and see us down here.
No, never.
Now, that's no way to talk, Miss Wilkins.
They are dead, aren't they? Aren't they?
Don't think of them.
I gotta think of them. They're me.
What are you talking about?
You think I haven't got a brain in my head? You think I don't know what I'm talking about? Well, I do. I always do. I let everybody think I'm a fool, but I know more than you or anyone. And I know why they died. I know.
Miss Wilkins, I don't know.
I'm telling you. Listen to me. I'm telling you. I know why they died.
Yes, of course. It was actually...
Will you listen to me?
All right.
Miss Guard died, and he committed a murder.
Yes.
And Mr. Kamarin died, and he committed a murder.
Well?
That's why I won't get out of here alive. I committed a murder, too. I committed a murder, too.
That's unbelievable. Oh, you're just saying things.
No, not true.
But you? Where? How?
Married. All I wanted to do was get married.
What?
Mary Jane Ellis, we'd gone to school together, the same room in college, the same room when we came here to go to work, always together. My best friend, everyone said my best friend up till Joe. I met him first, and she met him. She said she didn't like him, but I knew she did. She did. At the party, I came into the room. His arms had been around her. I knew they had. He couldn't fool me. She couldn't fool me. It was her fault, not his. My best friend. Joe was for me, not for her. He was thinking about her. He kept on thinking about her. Pretty, all right, she was pretty, but he was for me. At night, I'd lie there thinking that she was dead. If she was dead, she had to be dead. She had to be dead.
Miss Wilkins, for 5 years. I've known you for 5 years. What you're saying isn't true. I know it isn't. Your mind, all that's happened. You couldn't really...
Shut up! Blast you, shut up!
All right, Miss Wilkins.
You listen to me. I killed her. I killed her with poison. And I'm going to die the way they did. And there's nothing anyone can do about it.
You're out of your mind.
Now I know exactly what I'm saying and doing. Do you know how long I've waited for this moment, Mr. Arno? 5 years. 5 years. Every night for 5 years. Every time I was alone in the dark, I've been waiting for this moment. I don't have to wait anymore.
Why not?
Because it's here.
Who?
It's here in the canyon. Waiting to kill me.
There's no one here but you and me.
They knew. Now I know.
Well, I tell you, there's no one in this canyon but the two of us. And their bodies.
What's over there?
Huh? Oh, nothing but the shadow of a rock on the canyon wall.
Not a shadow, Mr. Arno.
What are you talking about?
Not a shadow, Mr. Arno.
I see it plainly. It is a shadow.
Not a shadow, Mr. Arno.
Why do you keep saying that?
It's coming closer.
The sun is getting lower in the sky.
If it touches me, I'll die.
Don't say that.
The way they died.
Stop talking nonsense. Get you out of here. Someone will come along. Up there. Is there anyone up there? We're down in the canyon. Get us out of here. Now, you just sit there and relax until someone... Miss Wilkins. Miss Wilkins. Dead? Bottle? What? Poison. You killed yourself. Why? The shadow. Yes. Touching you. Only a shadow. But is it? Someone get me out of here. Get me out of here. There we are. You lie there, Mr. Kamar. Miss Wilkins, Miss Guard, and now you, Mr. Kamar. Now, all of you lie there and listen to me. It's getting quite dark. And while it's still light enough so that I can see you, I want to talk to you. Dead as you are, I've got to find something out. Listen, the wind. It's just come up. The wind. It moans around the rocks, but I'm not moaning. You hear that, Miss Wilkins? I'm not. I'm just talking to you reasonably. It's been so many hours, and yet you hear I'm talking reasonably. Please understand, my friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. I took you to Hidden Canyon to show you the lichens and the glacial action on the rocks. I didn't want you to die. And that's what I've got to talk to you about. Dead as you are. Why did you die? It was all quite accidental. Wasn't it, Miss Guard? Answer me, Miss Guard. The rocks that crushed you, all quite accidental. It wasn't because you had committed a murder, was it? All quite accidental. Wasn't it, Miss Guard? Wasn't it, Miss Guard? How strangely my voice echoes between the rock walls. I will talk to you, Mr. Kamar. You climbed up the rocks. A cramp in your arm. You couldn't hold on any longer. You fell. That was all accidental, wasn't it? Wasn't it? There's no reason for me to shout like that. Is there? Oh, how quiet it is. And dark. For years, I've never been in the dark. At night, all the lights on in my house. I even sleep with the light on in the room. Never been in the dark for years. I'm in the dark at last. Alone. The three of you are dead. And so I'm alone. Who? Oh, a bird. An owl. Yes, of course, an owl. Miss Wilkins, you shouldn't have taken that poison. You should have stayed alive to talk to me. As long as there's someone to talk to. But when there's no one but the dead, that's a frightening thing. And I don't like the dark. And now I'm in the dark, alone. Oh, that's a frightening thing, yes. Oh. Your faces. Why do I see your faces? Oh. It's the moonlight. How quickly the moon lighting your faces. Yes. I don't think I'm going to look at you. I'm going to sit here all through the night, my eyes closed. Yes. I will. I will. How long have I had my eyes shut? All night? There's light against my eyes. I know it. All right. I will open my eyes. Moonlight. So bright. Filling the canyon. The walls. So very bright. Shadow. Shadow on the wall. What? Moving along the wall. Shadow of what? Miss Wilkins. You said a shadow, Miss Wilkins. You're smiling. Mr. Kamarin, you too. Miss Guard. All of you smiling. Is it the moonlight, or are you really smiling? Why are you smiling? Why? All right. I know. You know. All right. My eyes are open. And when the shadow touches me, who's lights? People.
Hello down there. Anyone down there?
Anyone? Yes. Mr. Kamarin, who killed his brother. Miss Guard, who killed her husband. Miss Wilkins, who killed her... Yes, I'm down here. Come and get me. I've waited for you for 15 years. I murdered my wife. You hear me? I murdered my wife.
This is Mr. O once more. To those of you who have asked the title of my new book, it's called House on Fire. Next week, a play with a cast known to all you buffs of the golden days of radio. Frank Lovejoy and Paul Stewart in No Escape. A story to be listened to in the dark. It is later than you think.
That's the show for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. And remember, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/terror1970, or you can look for me on Instagram at Radio Show Nerd, or on Twitter at Radio Show Nerd 1. If you want to drop me a line, say hello, a suggestion, a critique, feel free to email me at radioshownerd@gmail.com. And you can always leave me a comment down below. Again, this is Keith, aka the Radio Show Nerd, wishing you all an enjoyable but yet safe Halloween. Good night, everyone.